The Glorification of Luigi Mangione. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. The scion of a prominent Maryland family who came top of his class at an elite private school before graduating from an Ivy League college, Luigi Mangione seemed to have everything going for him. His friends and family have been left stunned by the 26-year-old's arrest for the murder of United Healthcare's chief executive, Brian Thompson, who was fatally shot last week in New York City. Mr. Mangione will plead not guilty, his lawyer says. According to a law enforcement bulletin, Mr. Mangione was allegedly motivated by resentment at what he called parasitic health insurance companies. He had spent time in a surfing community in Hawaii, but left owing to debilitating back pain, says those who remember him. It is unclear, however, to what extent his own health troubles shaped his views of the medical industry. He was arrested last week at McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and was allegedly in possession of a gun, bullets, multiple fake IDs, and cash. Mr. Mangione also had a handwritten document that expressed ill will towards corporate America and included passages such as, "Frankly, these parasites had it coming," according to police. Investigators say the words deny, defend, and depose were written on shell casings found at the scene of Mr. Thompson's murder. Law enforcement sources say this may be a reference to the 3 Ds of insurance, tactics used by companies to reject payment claims by patients. Mr. Mangione comes from a prominent family in the Baltimore area who are known for businesses, including country clubs, nursing homes, and a radio station. The suspect's paternal grandparents, Nicholas and Mary Mangione, were real estate developments who purchased the Turf Valley Country Club in 1978 and Hayfields Country Club in Hunt Valley in 1986. Shortly after Mr. Mangione was charged, his cousin, Republican state lawmaker Nino Mangione, released a statement saying the family was shocked and devastated. "We offer our prayers to the family of Brian Thompson, and we ask people to pray for all involved," the statement read. Thomas Marinick, a defense attorney who knows members of the family, explained that he was shocked at the charges. "You wouldn't think someone of privilege or means from a family that's known for doing so much for the community would do something like this." Mr. Mangione attended the private all-boys Gilman School in Baltimore. He was a valedictorian, an accolade usually bestowed on the student with the highest academic achievements. One of the classmates said that Mr. Mangione didn't have any enemies, and he was a valedictorian for a reason. Mr. Mangione went on to graduate from the University of Pennsylvania, where he gained a bachelor's and master's degree in computer science. He founded a video game development club. He was described as a supernormal and smart person. He was employed as a data engineer for TrueCar, a digital retailing website for new and used cars, according to his social media profiles. A company spokesman said he hadn't worked there since 2023. He also spent time in a co-living surfing community in Hawaii called Surf Break. It was said that he left owing to a back injury, which had worsened from surfing and hiking. Friends have explained he had surgery on his back. The background image on an X account believed to Mr. Mangione shows an X-ray of a spine with hardware in it. On a Reddit account that appears to have belonged to him, Mr. Mangione reportedly posted about his struggles with chronic back pain and brain fog. A former roommate, R.J. Martin, said that Mr. Mangione never complained. His back pain at times did prohibit him from doing many normal things, such as surfing or playing volleyball. Mr. Martin, who eventually lost contact with Mr. Mangione, said that he believed his former friend would never have conceived of hurting someone. "There's no making sense of it," he added. Luigi Mangione has been charged with the murder of Brian Thompson in what was clearly a premeditated execution. But whilst that trial has yet to come to pass, there has been an interesting divided reaction amongst the general public. There have been those that have expressed their horror that somebody could plan and carry out such a cold-blooded execution of an individual. And then there have been many who have glorified this individual, which, on the information presented, appears to be an individual who had become tired of being in pain and quite possibly had some issues with the healthcare and healthcare insurance industry, that then evidently fancied himself as some kind of complex vigilante, some criminal Svengali who unfortunately didn't take into account CCTV in McDonald's of all places, and thus having stuck it to the man, so to speak, the dead man, Mr. Thompson representing the concept of the man in corporate America, there have been many that have responded praising what he has done. Now, what's behind this glorification of Luigi Mangione? There is a sense of impotence and frustration amongst many people, that they find themselves struggling financially, that they are dealing with the rising cost of living, increased energy costs, increased food costs, and yet they see a small elite continuing to get wealthier and wealthier, often off the backs of their own misery. That individuals find that no matter how much they earn, they cannot get on the housing ladder. That individuals find that the cost of healthcare insurance is not only extensive and high, but when, at least this is in the United States, that when they submit a claim, they often find that they're not covered, or that they will find that there are elements where they have to pay an additional sum despite having paid in for insurance for many years. All of this leads to a sense of malcontent and us and them attitude, and it's little wonder that many people have glorified what he has done, seeing him as a form of martyr or hero who has fought back against the corporate overlords. Many people will have taken this stance motivated from a sensation of injustice with regard to their own circumstances and a sense of justice that an individual has struck a blow against this elite. But there are others that have glorified Luigi Mangione simply for their own self-serving interests. And an example of that comes from the narcissist Jameela Jamil, an actress who I've highlighted previously as a consequence of her friendship with this one's wife. Whilst many people have spoken out on social media praising the activities of Luigi Mangione, notwithstanding the fact that he's accused of a very serious crime, those individuals have done so because their sense of fairness, their sense of justice has been affected. The emotional empathy that many of these people have has been eroded as a consequence of the poor behaviour they see of these elite, the corporate overlords. And therefore, rather than express malcontent and disgust and horror at what Mr. Mangione is alleged to have done, they instead regard him as a hero. That is what explains the behaviour in relation to them. But Jameela Jamil, she glorified the alleged United Healthcare CEO assassin. She issued her hot take, as reported by Breitbart, about Mangione in response to an Instagram post from the account Sate Hoax, sharing photos of the alleged assassin. "A star is born," Jamil said in response to Mangione's photos, one of which featured him shirtless. The London-born actress's comment received over 5,000 likes and a mixture of feedback from users, with one calling her take shameful, while others laughed it off. The fact is that she has done this because she has no emotional empathy for Brian Thompson or his family. And not because she thinks that he is a member of the elite and therefore deserves, or at least it is a symbolic act as against that elite and therefore it's fair game, but simply, like any narcissist, she is hijacking a situation and utilizing it for her own gain. Her absence of emotional empathy comes from the fact of her narcissism, that she has no emotional empathy, neither for Mr. Thompson, who is dead, or for Luigi Mangione, who has been arrested and is currently detained in custody. Jamila Jamil glorifies the alleged assassin as a consequence of wanting to draw attention to herself, that she's utilizing tragic circumstances viewed by one section of community or heroic circumstances viewed by another section of community once again for her own ends. That she utilizes this act so that she can assert control over the audience with her post and draw fuel by way of their responses, and it worked for her, given the number of likes and comments that were received by her, demonstrating the receipt of fuel. This demonstrates the transparency of Jamila Jamil. She doesn't care about what happened to Mr. Thompson. She doesn't care about what happens to Luigi Mangione. But she simply comes along and sees an opportunity to glorify him, getting on the hero bandwagon, and doing so as a consequence of an absence of her own emotional empathy, not thinking how that might impact upon the family of Mr. Thompson, and simply doing it in a self-serving manner. It's interesting to note that with this slightly unusual glorification of Luigi Mangione, that many people do it as a consequence of feeling that a blow has been struck on behalf of them because they feel impotent, and that their ordinary emotional empathy has been eroded as a consequence of the way they feel they've been treated by the elites. But this isn't the case for Jamila Jamil. In fact, she would regard herself as being amongst the elite, but her use of these circumstances is borne by her narcissism, and is done, of course, to pursue the prime aims. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.